We've now received the carpet that we're going to be applying to this pillar here, across there, and the rear pillars. When Erica was originally manufactured, she would have had a trim down there on that entire pillar. You can still see the seal that goes around the edge of it, but unfortunately when the vehicle was modified to a wheelchair adapted vehicle, that trim got removed. So we now need to do something not just to that pillar but also around that window and also the rear pillars. There's going to be a headliner across the roof, so that doesn't need anything doing to it. Now the first thing we're going to do before we carpet all those areas is to put some silver foil, yet more of this silver foil, as the first layer. We know from Colin, our previous motorhome, that if you just carpet direct onto metal where there are gaps like those holes up there, then you can see where the holes are. The carpet will attract dirt, moisture, grease in those areas. So we're going to be affixing the foil and then the carpet over the top with some high temperature adhesive. A little bit trepidatious about the whole carpeting activity, so let's see how it goes.
There was then a slight delay as we realised we didn't have the right calibre of mask to deal with a noxious substance like this spray adhesive.
This is possibly the most nerve-wracking bit of the build, where Mick is applying glue to the metal to affix carpet. Most other things you feel like if it goes wrong you can take it out, cut it shorter, move it, not a problem. Carpet feels a bit more permanent and it's not something we've ever done before, so really don't know how this is going to go. I'm not going to film much of this because it's a job that's nerve-wracking enough as it is, but that is the first piece hung, and we'll come back to it when there's more. Rain stopped play yesterday, but Mick has resumed this morning, and that is looking pretty good. Still a little bit to be done at the bottom of the wheel arch, but the wheel arch is actually under the bed. Obviously there's the window still to be cut out.
It seems I failed to take any coverage of what Mick achieved over the rest of that day, so we'll now jump forward a couple of days to the finishing touches of the door panels.
This is Mick just trying to remove a bit of carpet that he's already glued on, because we rather belatedly realised that we're not going to get the door card back on with carpet under one particular bit of it. One of those things that you learn as you go along, and we won't make the same mistake on the carpet for the other door card.
Our solution was to trim the door card after carefully taping the carpet out of the way of the saw, so it no longer needed to fit under the door handle assembly.
Mick has just completed the covering of the door card for this door. Still needs to be affixed, but I think it's a real shame that that entire lower side is actually going to be covered by the sofa and the sofa back, because that, I think, is rather well done. Under this pillar here, and in fact the middle pillar, we put the silver foil thinking that it would even it out, because there's a lot of dips in the bodywork, but actually what it did was not give a firm surface onto which to glue the carpet, and therefore it looks a little bit on the wrinkly side on that side.
On this side we didn't put the foil bubble wrap under the carpet, but just covered over the holes and gaps with foil tape, which gave a firmer surface for the carpeting, meaning it went on more smoothly with a better end result. I say we, but I do of course mean Mick, as he took on this job in its entirety.
The majority of that is actually going to be covered over, because the kitchen will be there. We've only put the carpet on for the little bits that you will see, and where we didn't want bare metal with holes in it.
There wasn't much I could do whilst Mick was carpeting, but once he'd finished the main part and got onto the door cards, I took the opportunity to modify slightly and fit the boxing in for the wheel arch, which we'd made a week earlier.
This is the boxing in for the kitchen side wheel arch, which seems to have taken a disproportionately long time to make.
And I'm just about to put some insulation down inside of it, which was the whole purpose of making it. And then I can put the lid on. We've only affixed this with self-adhesive Velcro, in that it has no real structural value. It's purely to hold some insulation in place. Although I have to say the adhesive on that Velcro is probably the strongest I've ever come across. There's also some under here, and I don't think that's going to be going anywhere anytime soon. Mick has done a lot of gluing of carpet this week, and he's going to be very glad to know that this is the last piece. This is the one door card that will actually still be on display after we've fitted everything else. So Mick, I'm about to move out of the way because I'm not wearing breathing apparatus. Mick's about to...
Yeah, the wind's blowing this way. Right.
Mick's about to glue and then stick. Cobwebs in a bottle. Mick has discovered this week that an excellent tool for applying carpet is a kitchen spatula. That is a box with some ripped up bits of insulation around the bit of the wheel arch that's going to be boxed in, and that there is the entirety of the insulation that we have left from the 2 rolls that we bought. The intention at the outset was that we were just going to carpet that pillar there, this pillar here, and around this window, those being the only bits that were visible on this side. On the other side we were going to do the top of the central pillar and this back pillar, and leave the rest, because it's by the kitchen, we were going to leave the rest bare. We drew out on a piece of paper how much carpet that would require, and it was coming out at 4 square metres, but we thought we'd buy 6 just to make sure. And Mick then got a bit carried away, and when he did this section he went down over the wheel arch, which looks very nice. The question now is whether we're going to proceed with our original plan and box that in. And because we had more carpet, we thought we may as well do the door cards as well. Particularly we're pleased that the door cards went back on with their original fixings. Over this side we're only going to do a bit on the pillars, but we had a little offcut of carpet left after we'd done that door card as well. As we had this area blank and we had an offcut that suited it, we thought we may as well use it. So you can clearly see the joins, but all that's behind a cupboard. As I say, we thought we may just as well use the spare bit as carpet rather than just leave it in a drawer or throw it away. Does kind of feel a shame that there's not enough left to go over that boxing in, but again, it's all within a cupboard, so it's not going to be seen. So you might be able to see here that there's a dip in the carpet. We intentionally didn't fill in the gap there, because we're going to cut that hole back out and put the original bit of trim back over it. And just here we haven't actually got the cover for the trim, but we need to cut through that one because behind there is where the wire for the kitchen 12-volt socket is going to come out. I was glad that in returning bits of trim to their original positions I started with this one, because in trying to refit it I came across a significant impediment in the thickness of the carpet. A swift decision was therefore made not to replace the matching bit of trim on the driver's side, where we not only had the carpet but also a layer of foil bubble wrap. I did manage to fight the cover back onto the bottom of the middle pillar, even though it's going to be hidden in a cupboard, but again decided doing the same on the opposite pillar, where it will be hidden under the sofa, would be more trouble than it was worth. With the walls now carpeted, it was time to turn our minds to some kitchen construction, but more about that in the next video.